The last time Volkswagen India tried selling an SUV in India in the form of the Touareg, things did not really work well. People thought it would be better to just go off and buy a Q7. Well, after a long gap, the company is back again into the SUV segment with the all-new Tiguan. How good is it? We're in Chikmagulur to find out. So let's start off with the design of the new Tiguan first. Well, if you look at it, it does look like a proper SUV. It's got those boxy lines, but then again, you do get that hint of German design. It's got that restrained design, so it's not loud, it's got elegant lines. So while it may not come across as a very handsome looking SUV on the first sight, it is a good looking SUV from the perspective that even 3-4 years down the line, when you wake up in the morning and walk down to your driveway, it would still look good. Now starting off with the front, well, it's a typical Volkswagen design. You've got this chrome lid and grille. Again, the headlamps are similar to what we are used to seeing on other Volkswagen cars. The headlamps have got an LED daytime running lamp unit. Apart from that, the headlamp cluster itself is LED. The tail lamps also at the rear are LED. So if you look at the front, it looks premium, it looks expensive. It does not have the boxy, brash look of an SUV, but then again, yes, it looks more like an elegant and well-poised SUV. Now talking about the side, well, it's a clean design, not much of drama here. There's a strong shoulder line. Apart from that, the 18-inch alloy wheels, they complement the SUV profile well. Moving back to the rear, well, the rear is a little more restrained than the front and doesn't really look that special. But then again, it's a clean design. You've got these good looking LED tail lamps. They look good, especially at the night. But apart from that, as we said earlier, it's a no-nonsense design, more of a timeless design, so it will age well. And that's what most of the Volkswagens are good at. Well, now we're inside the cabin of the new Tiguan, and the moment you step in, what you notice, the familiarity with the other Volkswagen cars. But then again, when you inspect it closer, you instantly realize the quality of materials is top-notch. Apart from that, you have the smart-looking touchscreen which gives you access to Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Now, interestingly, navigation can only be accessed through your mobile phone, and that too if you have an Android phone. Volkswagen says that once Apple gives them the permission, users of iPhone will be able to use navigation. Now if you talk about features, well, the Tiguan comes with all the features that you would expect from a car in this price segment. We already told you about the touchscreen and the features it's got. You have a 3-zone automatic climate control. So apart from the 2 passengers at the front, the people at the rear also can set the temperature to their preference. The instrument cluster again has got multi-information display, so you get all the usual readouts, including your distance to empty, your trip meters, your average distance, your average speed, average fuel economy, all of that is there. Apart from that, the entire cabin feels pretty premium. The only thing we find could have been a little better are these carbon fiber finish strips in the dashboard. Now, I personally think that because this is an all black dashboard, probably using an aluminium finish or a silver accent here would have just broken the black theme and brought out some contrast, but then again, it's a design thing, so to each his own. In terms of space, again, there's a lot of it. You've got a cavity here. You can easily put in some things inside the armrest. You've got again place here for the ashtray or to place a couple of glasses again. Beyond that, everything else in the cabin in terms of ergonomics is good. Everything is well within reach. The visibility for the driver is good, both from at the front and as well as at the rear. So if you look at the cabin experience for the front occupants, the Tiguan scores top marks. Now one more good thing about the Tiguan is that unlike some of the other vehicles in this segment, it is not just a poser, it's not a 4 SUV. This one comes with a full-time all-wheel drive system. Now what you also get as an addition with this system is drive mode selector. So using this dial here, you can simply choose between 4 different modes. The first one being snow, normal, which you would use for roads. Then you've got an off-road mode, and the fourth one is an individual mode wherein you can customize the settings of the throttle, the gearbox, etc. So now we're at the rear seat of the new Tiguan, and I've got the driver's seat adjusted to my driving preference, and you can see, well, there is just about enough space in terms of knee room, leg room. And if you're wondering that's a little too less, that's because the rear seat too can be pushed forward and rear, and this is at the forwardmost setting, so I can actually take it this back, this too can go, and then you can see the amount of space I have. Now I, for reference, am 5 feet 8 inches. If anyone even as tall as 6 feet were to sit here, there is no way you would be brushing your knees against the driver's seat. You've got these rear AC vents, you can control the temperature from here. Apart from that, one of the highlights of this cabin is the panoramic sunroof you've got. Now this looks especially good in the weather that we are right now, where it's intermittently raining and drizzling. The view out of this panoramic sunroof is very good. If you talk about the seats themselves, very comfortable, good under thigh support, good backrest. You've got this center armrest and place to at least put in 2 of your beverage drinks. So if you talk of comfort, the Tiguan scores very well on these aspects. Now before we head out for a drive and start telling you how the engine, the transmission and everything works, here's an interesting fact. The only locally assembled part rather in this car is the engine. This is the only part that's manufactured or rather assembled here. Apart from that, everything else is imported in form of kits and assembled. So now that we have talked about the exterior and the interior of the new Tiguan, let's talk about the engine, the performance. Now this one's powered by a 2-liter diesel engine. It's a TDI engine, and well, it's not the engine that is part of the diesel scandal from Volkswagen, so you don't have to worry about that aspect at all. Now this one develops about 140 horsepower and 340 Newton meters of torque. Now this is a healthy output considering that this is based on the MQB platform, as the result of which the Tiguan is a light vehicle, so it doesn't really need the 170 plus horsepower that you immediately would be wondering is available on similarly priced Fortuner or the Endeavour. The engine is paired to a 7-speed DSG transmission. Now this is not the old one, this is a next generation, a new generation unit, and Volkswagen claims that this has been designed to withstand even more torque than the older unit and is better suited for handling a 4-wheel drive system, which comes as a standard fitment on the Tiguan. Now talking about the engine, it's a very smooth unit. Once you get going, there's barely any feel of it being a diesel engine. When you're cruising along the highway, there's very less noise filtering inside the cabin, so on that account the engine scores really well. In terms of drivability too, it's a good unit. There's very little lag. Whatever lag is there, it ends right below around 1500 rpm. So once you're past about 1500 rpm, that's where the engine comes into its own element, and once you're past about 2000 rpm and when the turbo is in full swing, the full power of the Tiguan's engine is accessible from there on. The DSG transmission works well in the city, upshifts, downshifts quickly, so even if you're going hard on the throttle, the transmission supports the engine well, and it also have the option of taking control through these paddles. So the power to weight ratio on this SUV is pretty healthy. So when you mash your right foot down to the carpet, the Tiguan accelerates with a lot of enthusiasm. Now since the Tiguan is based on a monocoque chassis, it doesn't really pitch and roll around like most of the ladder frame chassis that you can buy within this similar price segment. So it stays planted through the corners. In terms of ride quality, again, it delivers very well. Most potholes and undulations on the road are dealt with ease. There is very little shocks that filter into the cabin. So on that account, again, the Tiguan performs well. If you talk about handling, well, that again is an area where the Tiguan aces its competition, because as we said earlier, it's based on a platform that underpins cars, and as a result of which it goes around corners very well. It maintains the intended line. The steering feel again is decent. I wouldn't say it's really great, but then again you get to know what's happening with the tires at the front. So in a nutshell, the Tiguan delivers the cabin experience that you would expect from a luxury SUV. It has a premium feel all around, and the material quality is impressive. The NVH levels are well controlled. The ride quality is sorted. The handling again is good. The engine and transmission performs well. When you put all of that together, from a driver's perspective, the Tiguan is a very well performing vehicle. So we're approaching the end of our Tiguan drive in the beautiful hill station of Chikmagulur, and it's time to round up what the Tiguan really is and what value it offers to you as a potential buyer. So to sum up the overall Tiguan experience, well, the SUV is a very well-rounded vehicle. It offers a very good driving experience. It's got a refined engine. It's got a very efficient gearbox. The fuel efficiency too is good at a little above 17 kilometers to a liter. So what you get is a good looking SUV with premium interiors, good space, good ergonomics. Overall, a premium SUV that feels very good to drive and to be inside. As good as the Tiguan may be, the biggest challenge it faces is the price and positioning. Now, the Comfort Line model is priced at a little over 27 lakhs, and the High Line that we are driving right now is priced at about a little over 31 lakh ex-showroom Delhi. Now, this puts the Tiguan bang in the middle of the same territory wherein you can go out and buy a Toyota Fortuner, a Ford Endeavour, an Isuzu MU-X, or you can even go out and buy the Hyundai Tucson. However, if you look at any of those 7-seater large SUVs, what you will get along with them is more space, but with that also comes a lot of body roll, and they do not feel as premium as the Tiguan does. So who the Tiguan is for? Well, if you are someone who wants an SUV that drives like a car, has plush interiors, gives you a very good experience in form of the infotainment and the cabin, that's the Tiguan, and that's what it delivers, and that's what it's good at. If you like this video, please do hit that subscribe button and share it as well. For anything else from the world of wheels, please log on to www.expressdrives.com. Drive safe and wear your seatbelt, obey all traffic laws. Thanks a lot and see you soon.